Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on cultural conflict theory and criminology. Today, we will explore how clashes between different cultural groups can contribute to criminal behavior and deviance. Culture conflict theory provides valuable insights into the dynamics of cultural diversity and its impact on crime within a society. So, culture conflict theory discusses a marginalized group's more likely proclivity to engage in a higher propensity for criminal behavior in a larger society where they are dominated by a overarching culture that influences their culture. Culture is a fundamental aspect of our social fabric, shaping our interactions and behaviors. Within a society, diverse cultures may have different values, norms, and expectations, leading to potential conflicts. These conflicts can arise when individuals from different cultural backgrounds encounter opposing beliefs or practices. You can see this in the American culture between African Americans and white Americans. You can see this currently in the Gaza Strip between Israelis and Palestinians. You can see this in what else is a good example? I'm not super familiar, but the Chechens in Bosnia, being Muslim, but they can grate against each other being in such close proximity and having different values and a different power dynamic as well. Cultural identity plays a significant role in shaping individuals' choices and actions. When individuals face cultural conflicts, they may resort to deviant behavior as a means of expressing or protecting their cultural identity. An example of that would be a youth in LA that's gang affiliated, tagging. By tagging, I mean spray painting or painting a building. I forget what term that's used for the actual criminal offense, but just essentially painting their gang affiliation logo on the side of a building, so to speak. Technically speaking, that's their culture. That's what they do. Although it breaks the overarching culture's laws. It simply does. What else would be an example of that? A potential, maybe not a legal example, could be how in America, African Americans have to deal with hair discrimination. So maybe a student has dreadlocks or braids, and he's enrolled in he or she is enrolled in a private school. Whatever rules they may have may grate against the private school's hair dress code. For instance, a lot of schools have it where hair can't fall below the shoulder length or something like that, but our hair grows up. So if my hair is this tall, growing up, it doesn't, technically speaking, doesn't break any sort of dress code violation, although it would probably be or potentially be discriminated against. That's another example of that. And these things obviously can build resentment. Cultural identity. Cultural identity plays a significant role in shaping individual choices and actions. For example, someone from a marginalized cultural background may engage in activities which are considered deviant by the dominant culture, but it seems normal within their own cultural context. I gave examples of that. Cultural conflicts are often intertwined with social inequality and power dynamics. I gave an example of that just now as well. Dominant cultures hold more influence and power, while minority and marginalized cultures may face discrimination and marginalization. Another example of that would be, as far as marginalization would be, Indians on reservations and the Palestinians being limited to the Gaza Strip. where they're literally marginalized location-wise in society, and thus their opportunities economically are obviously limited. You could write a whole essay on that, realistically. These power imbalances can exacerbate cultural conflicts and contribute to criminal behavior. Another example would be the rising gang involvement among marginalized cultural groups as a response to social exclusion and economic disparities. And another example would be how in African American culture we have unique names like Tyrone or Lashana or something like that. My name is Thomas, but it could be Tyrone. That doesn't make me more likely to be a criminal. But I could be discriminated against, or what word am I looking for? I can be typecast as someone more likely to do that. Thus, it could make me or someone like me feel marginalized. Another example is the tension between cultural practices and the laws of a dominant culture, such as drug trafficking within certain cultural communities, or the fact that drug trafficking within certain communities is looked for and prosecuted. I'm not saying it's not prosecuted in every community, but if you have a task force sent in a specific area where only people of a certain background live, and you don't have a task force for like the suburbs or something like that, then I think that you could see why people of that background would be targeted or be more likely to be prosecuted for said crime. It's not like the crime's not happening outside of that area. Addressing culture conflict requires thoughtful policymaking and crime prevention strategies, which I just gave an example how a task force could, in a non-thoughtful way, be discriminatory. Promoting cultural understanding, social inclusion, and equal opportunities are crucial steps in reducing cultural conflicts and criminal behavior. Equal opportunities meaning in law enforcement, people from a certain culture should be, I believe, given reign or given more responsibility to, or more tools to police their own sort of demographic, their own demographic. Implementing policies that foster respect for diverse cultures and provide opportunities for dialogue, we can work toward a more harmonious society. In conclusion, culture conflict theory sheds light on complex relationship between culture, conflict, and crime. Understanding the impact of cultural diversity and the social inequality is essential for addressing crime effectively. I think we should strive for a society that embraces cultural diversity, promotes empathy, and works toward resolving cultural conflicts peacefully. Yeah, so that's my presentation on cultural conflict theory. Thank you for your time.